Mina, the floor is yours.
I really like your list, and I think with the Bills, Keyshawn's leaving out something important, which is you're recognizing the underlying qualities of this team. In their losses, they were missing almost their entire secondary.
I had to watch it, and now you had to watch it as well. Mina Kimes really just said that, and not a word was taken out of context. She just put an asterisk on the losses by the Buffalo Bills because their secondary was injured for most of those losses. Yet she completely ignored the injury sustained by one of the teams that beat the Buffalo Bills. Yes, the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not sure she remembers, obviously not, but there was this certain Thursday night football game between the Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals where Tua Tagovailoa suffered a major concussion and then subsequently was out for 3 games. But obviously that doesn't count the same as the Buffalo Bills injuries. This woman is an apologist for all quarterbacks not named Tua Tagovailoa. There's simply too many receipts out there that support her being a Tua hater. People all over Dolphins Twitter were talking about this skullduggery. I featured this segment from ESPN on my Tua Tuesday broadcast. To set things up, she said this on ESPN First Take, where Stephen A. Smith was talking about what he considered his top 5 NFL teams. Let's roll cut 1.
Mina, the floor is yours.
I really like your list, and I think with the Bills, Keyshawn's leaving out something important, which is you're recognizing the underlying qualities of this team. In their losses, they were missing almost their entire secondary.
Told you. In the Buffalo Bills losses, Keyshawn, you don't understand. The Bills didn't have their entire secondary. That's why they lost. Mina, who did the Dolphins miss? Who did the Dolphins not have in their 3 losses? The stunning incompetence is amazing. She just said, and you just heard her, she just said, hey, you can't say anything bad about the Bills because they were missing their secondary when they lost. Why did you forget that Tua Tagovailoa was on a stretcher? Did you forget that he was gone for 3 games? I don't even know how that came out of her mouth. I feel like Herm Edwards and Keyshawn, you can see his face when you see it, are like, bitch, please, what are you saying? It's bad enough you're on this panel, but you can't keep embarrassing us with some of the stuff that you say. I had to put this out there because if you guys hadn't seen this, you wouldn't have believed it. I'm gonna play that again. I'm gonna rewind it just a bit.
They were missing qualities of this team. In their losses, they were missing almost their entire secondary.
They were missing almost their entire secondary. He just put up his top 5 teams that he thinks are in the NFL, and she has a problem that the Bills are so low because they were missing their secondary in their losses. So you can see the faces. Look at the faces. Look at Herm Edwards. Look at Keyshawn. Right there, they realized she stepped in it. They realized that she stepped full into a hot, steamy pile of dog poo by telling people that the Bills lost games because their secondary wasn't there. And she completely, and I'm going to let it finish, she doesn't even mention Tua Tagovailoa being out for the Dolphins' 3 losses. How do you get on a nationally televised sports program and completely not remember? It's dumbfounding. Am I making too much of this? You guys let me know, but let's finish with her.
They're getting healthy. Hopefully they get Tre'Davious White back at some.
They're getting healthy. What about the Dolphins? Their starting quarterback is playing lights out. He's healthy.
Jordan Poyer came back. We do need Josh Allen to continue what we saw, which is cutting down on those red zone interceptions, but they are still one of the best teams in the NFL.
I don't know if she has a script. Is she reading? Josh Allen needs to cut down on his interceptions because he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The defensive secondary was hurt, so we're going to talk about the defensive secondary as a reason that they've lost, the games that they've lost. And there's nothing on my page here about Miami. There's nothing here about a quarterback that had a concussion and missed 3 games. So because it's not on the piece of paper or the teleprompter that I'm looking at, I'm not even going to mention it.
I think Miami is the sleeping giant in this league because of their offense. The defense looked better last week, but I want to see more continued good performance against them. And
Look, Miami is a sleeper, but she needs to see more. Did she say that about Jimmy G and the 49ers, who just, they won a big game yesterday? You don't need to see more from them. They're definitely a solid team as far as she's concerned. The Dolphins are still iffy. I told you it was nuts. I told you this was a nuts take. First take? No, change the name of the show to Nuts Take. And D's nuts, never mind. I was going to make a D's nuts joke, but wow. When you just, again, I'm going to cut to this and pause. Look at the guys' faces. If I'm making this up, you guys tell me. Look at their faces. Those guys couldn't contain the complete, utter disbelief of what this woman just said. Mina Kimes may be a very, very nice person, and I have no reason to think otherwise. From people who know her, they say she's an absolute sweetheart of a person. But ESPN should be ashamed of foisting her upon us as an expert in football. Doing so is epic gaslighting. She continues to put her foot in her mouth over and over again, and obviously some of these ESPN hosts, some of the former players, can see it. Let me know what you think about Mina Kimes and her expert analysis on football. And if you'd like to, please go ahead and click right here and join me Sunday when I do my live broadcast as the Houston Texans visit the Miami Dolphins. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?